Subscribe to Storylab for more stories. Now let's begin this one. Chapter 1. The Perfect Illusion. Grant Hale pressed his thumbs into the trigger points along his client's shoulder blade, feeling the knot release under sustained pressure. 15 years since he'd left the Navy SEALs, and his hands still remembered the anatomy lessons that had kept teammates alive in the field, now repurposed for his thriving physical therapy practice in Portland. That's the spot, groaned Marcus Webb, a construction foreman who'd thrown out his back. Whatever they taught you in the military, it's worth every penny. Just basic knowledge of how the body works, Grant replied, his voice carrying that measured calm that had once directed operations in Kandahar. At 42, he traded combat boots for running shoes, but his 6'2" frame still carried the coiled readiness of his former life. Silver threaded through his dark hair at the temples. Distinguished Sophia called it. You're putting too much strain on your lower back. I'm going to teach you proper lifting mechanics. After Marcus left, Grant checked his phone. Nothing from Sophia. She'd been distant lately, dismissive. 20 years of marriage, and somewhere in the last 2, they'd become strangers sharing a house. She'd blamed it on her real estate career taking off, the stress of managing high-end properties for Portland's tech elite. He believed her, because believing was easier than confronting the cold space that had opened between them. His daughter Kelly called as he locked up the clinic. Hey, Dad, just finished my last midterm. Can you believe I'm already done with my junior year? Time flies when you're crushing it at Stanford, Grant said, warmth flooding his voice. Kelly was his pride, pre-med, top of her class, inheriting his discipline and Sophia's ambition without the ice that had crystallized in his wife. You coming home for the break? That's why I'm calling. I'm catching an early flight tomorrow instead of next week. Wanted to surprise Mom, but also, she paused. Dad, is everything okay with you too? Grant's jaw tightened. Even from 800 miles away, Kelly sensed the fractures. Why do you ask? Mom's been weird on the phone, distracted, and you sound tired. Just busy season for both of us, sweetheart. Nothing for you to worry about. But he did worry. Sophia had started working late 5 nights a week. Business dinners, she claimed. The luxury market demanded FaceTime with clients. He'd stopped asking questions when her answers became elaborations instead of explanations. Too many details, too defensive. That night, Grant sat at his home office reviewing patient files when Sophia breezed in at 11:30, her blonde hair perfectly styled despite the late hour, her designer suit unwrinkled. Still up? She asked, her tone suggesting he shouldn't be. Waiting for you. Thought we could talk. She sighed, the sound sharp with irritation. Grant, I'm exhausted. Can it wait? Kelly's coming home tomorrow. Something flickered in Sophia's blue eyes. Not pleasure, but alarm, quickly masked. Tomorrow? She said next week. She finished early. Wanted to surprise you. That's... Sophia's smile didn't reach her eyes. That's wonderful. I'll make sure I'm home for dinner. She disappeared upstairs, and Grant sat in the silence, that old combat instinct prickling at the base of his skull. Something was wrong. He'd survived 12 years in naval special warfare by trusting that instinct. Chapter 2. Cracks in the Foundation. Grant woke at 5:30, his body still running on military time. Sophia's side of the bed was cold. She'd slept in the guest room again, claiming his snoring kept her awake. Another excuse in an arsenal of excuses. He ran his usual 6 miles through Portland's tree-lined streets, pushing hard enough to quiet the unease. Back home, he showered and headed to the clinic, where his receptionist Neil Singh was already brewing coffee. Boss, you look like hell, Neil said. The former Army medic had worked with Grant for 8 years, their shared military background creating a shorthand that didn't require explanation. Rough night. Sophia. Grant poured coffee. When did it become so obvious? About 6 months ago, when you stopped mentioning her. Neil leaned against the counter, his expression careful. My sister went through something similar. Husband started working late, acting distant. Turned out he'd been seeing someone else for a year. Sophia wouldn't. Grant stopped. Wouldn't she? The woman who'd grown cold and calculating over the past 2 years, who looked at their marriage like a failing investment. He didn't know anymore. His first patient arrived, and Grant buried himself in work, shoulders Knees, backs, the mechanical problems he could actually fix. Between appointments, he found himself checking Sophia's social media, something he'd never done before. Her Instagram showed carefully curated photos of properties, client dinners, philanthropic events. In the recent photos, a man appeared frequently at her side, Rafael Garcia, identified as her business partner. Grant didn't remember Sophia mentioning a partner. Rafael was late 30s, handsome in that polished way of men who spent more time in gyms than Grant did, despite Grant's military background. His smile was too white, too practiced. Every photo showed him touching Sophia's arm, standing too close, their body language suggesting intimacy beyond business. "Neil," Grant called out during lunch. "How hard would it be to check on someone's whereabouts?" Discreetly, Neil set down his sandwich. "We doing this? I need to know if I'm paranoid or if my instincts are right." "Your instincts kept us alive in Hellman Province." "They're probably right." Neil pulled out his phone. "My cousin runs a private security firm. He owes me a favor." "What do you need?" That afternoon, while Grant worked on a torn rotator cuff, Neil's cousin provided answers. Sophia had been seen entering Rafael Garcia's apartment 3 times in the past week, staying until midnight. The building's security footage showed them kissing in the lobby. Grant's hands never shook during the treatment. He'd learned in SEAL training to compartmentalize, to function under any stress. But inside, something cold and dangerous began to calcify. He drove to the airport that evening, his daughter's smiling face the only bright point in the gathering storm. Kelly emerged from baggage claim, her chestnut hair in a ponytail, wearing Stanford sweats, and threw herself into his arms. "Dad, I miss you so much." Holding her, Grant felt the rage crystallize into purpose. Whatever was happening with Sophia, Kelly wouldn't be caught in the crossfire. He'd protect her from the truth until he understood its full scope. At home, Sophia had actually arrived before them, the house filled with the scent of lasagna, Kelly's favorite. She hugged their daughter with what seemed like genuine affection, and for a moment, Grant glimpsed the woman he'd married. Over dinner, Sophia asked about Stanford, about Kelly's classes, her friends. She laughed at Kelly's stories about incompetent lab partners and demanding professors. It was almost normal, almost comfortable, and Grant found himself hating the performance. His phone buzzed during dessert. "Neil, security footage shows Garcia entering your house twice last month." Mid-afternoon, Sophia gave him a key. Grant excused himself to the bathroom, standing over the sink, controlling his breathing the way he'd been trained. Rafael Garcia had been his home. In his bed, probably. The betrayal burned, but underneath it ran something colder, the tactical mind that had planned missions now planning something else entirely. He returned to find Kelly showing Sophia photos on her phone. "And this has been, he's in my anatomy class. We've been studying together." "Is he your boyfriend?" Sophia asked, that edge of control in her voice. "Just a friend, Mom. I'm focused on school." "Good. Men are distractions. Focus on building your own success first." The irony wasn't lost on Grant. He caught Kelly's eye, saw her discomfort with Sophia's coldness. Later, after Kelly went to bed, Sophia cornered him in the kitchen. "I need to talk to you." "I'm listening. I'm going out of town this weekend. Business conference in Seattle." "With Rafael Garcia?" Her expression shuddered. "He's my business partner." "Yes, he'll be there." "When did you take on a partner?" 3 months ago. I told you about it." She hadn't. Grant would have remembered. "And you need to stay overnight?" "It's a 2-day conference." "Grant, stop interrogating me. You're not a SEAL anymore, and I'm not one of your missions." "No, you're my wife. Where you're supposed to be." Sophia's face hardened. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means I'm not blind, Sophia. I'm not stupid, and I'm done pretending everything is fine." For a moment, fear flashed in her eyes, genuine, raw fear. Then it vanished behind her practiced mask. "We'll talk when I get back from Seattle. I'm too tired for this tonight." She left him standing in the kitchen, and Grant understood with absolute clarity. His marriage was over. The only question now was how ugly the ending would be. Chapter 3. The Fall. Kelly woke early the next morning, too excited to sleep in. She'd missed her parents, missed the house, missed normalcy. Stanford was amazing, but sometimes she just wanted to be home. Her father was already in the kitchen, making his protein smoothie, and they fell into easy conversation about her plans for medical school, his latest challenging patients. These were the moments Kelly cherished. Just the two of them, the way it used to be before her mother became so consumed with work and status. Mom left early, Grant said. Said to tell you she'd be back Sunday night. Kelly tried to hide her disappointment. The Seattle conference. She mentioned it last week. She said Raphael needed her there to close some big deal. Kelly caught her father's expression. Dad, do you not like Raphael? Grant measured his words carefully. I don't know him well enough to have an opinion. But Kelly saw the tension in his shoulders, the way his jaw tightened. She'd grown up watching her father read people, assess threats, maintain control. Something was wrong. Dad, are you and Mom okay? He met her eyes, and Kelly saw the truth he was trying to shield her from. We're working through some things, sweetheart, but that's not your burden to carry. The day passed pleasantly enough. They hit Powell's books, grabbed lunch at Kelly's favorite Thai place, wandered through the rose garden. Grant seemed determined to make her visit special, but Kelly couldn't shake the feeling that he was also saying goodbye to something. That evening, she decided to go home early from a friend's house. The movie had been terrible, and she wanted to surprise her dad with his favorite ice cream from the corner store. She let herself in quietly, planning to jump out and scare him. The house was dark except for a light in her mother's study. Kelly moved toward it, then froze at the sound of voices, her mother's voice and a man's. Not her father. Has to look like an accident, Rafael Garcia was saying. We can't risk an investigation. Kelly crept closer, her heart hammering. Through the crack in the door, she saw her mother sitting at her desk, Rafael standing behind her, his hand on her shoulder. And across from them, a third person, a hard-looking man with cold eyes and a face mapped with scars. An accident is more expensive, the scarred man said. His voice was flat, professional. Clean jobs cost extra. Colin, we're paying you enough, Sophia said, and Kelly's blood ran cold at her mother's tone, businesslike, discussing murder like a real estate transaction. We need this done within the week, while Kelly's back at Stanford. It needs to be perfect. Who's the target? Colin Farrell asked. My husband. Grant Hale. The world tilted. Kelly grabbed the wall for support, her phone still clutched in her hand. This wasn't real. This couldn't be real. But Raphael was pulling out a folder, spreading photos on the desk, photos of her father. His route to work, his clinic, his schedule. Former Navy SEAL, Colin said, studying the photos. This won't be simple. He's middle-aged and soft, Raphael dismissed. He runs the same route every morning. Hit him with a car. Make it look like a hit and run. I'll need half up front. Sophia opened her desk drawer, pulling out an envelope thick with cash. $50,000 now. $50,000 when it's done. Kelly's hands shook as she activated her phone's camera, pressing record. This was insane. This was her mother. But the proof was right there. Her mother counting money, Raphael's hand possessive on Sophia's waist, the assassin pocketing the cash. And if he suffers? Sophia asked, her voice carrying a viciousness Kelly had never heard. If it's not instant, Raphael laughed. Baby, I thought you wanted to look like an accident. I want him gone. I want his life insurance. I want to be free of him and his judgment and his pathetic little clinic. Sophia's face twisted with contempt. 20 years I've wasted on mediocrity. 20 years watching him play hero to broken people while I built an actual empire. Soon, Raphael soothed. Soon it'll be just us, and all of this will be ours. Kelly backed away, still recording, her mind screaming. She had to get out. Had to warn her father. Had to. The floorboard creaked. 3 heads snapped toward the door. Kelly ran, but Colin Farrell was faster, trained, lethal. He caught her at the top of the stairs, his hand vicing around her wrist. The phone clattered to the floor. Please, Kelly gasped. Please, I won't tell. She filmed us, Colin said, scooping up the phone, seeing the recording. Sophia appeared in the hallway, her face white. Kelly, sweetheart, you're going to kill Dad? Kelly's voice broke. Mom, how could you? You don't understand, Sophia said, but there was no warmth in her eyes, only calculation. You're young. You don't know what it's like to be trapped, to watch your potential wasted. So you hire someone to murder him? Kelly wrenched against Colin's grip. You're insane. Raphael stepped forward. We have a problem. She's my daughter. She's a witness, Colin said flatly. With video evidence. We can't hurt her, Sophia said. But even she sounded uncertain. Colin's eyes were dead things. Then you have two bodies to explain, or you let her go and accept a murder charge. Choose. The moment stretched out, horrifying in its implications. Then Colin shoved, hard, and Kelly was falling backward down the stairs, her scream cutting off as her head cracked against the wooden railing, then the floor, then darkness swallowed everything. Chapter 4. The Awakening. The call came at 1:15 a.m. Grant jerked awake, his combat instincts firing before conscious thought. Unknown number. He answered. Is this Grant Hale? Father of Kelly Hale. Yes. Who is this? This is Dr. Morrison at Emmanuel Hospital. Your daughter was brought in by ambulance approximately 30 minutes ago. She suffered severe head trauma. We need you here immediately. The drive to the hospital passed in a blur of red lights and mounting dread. Grant's mind ran scenarios: car accident, mugging, fall, each possibility worse than the last. He parked illegally and sprinted through the emergency entrance. Dr. Morrison met him in the trauma wing, her expression grave. Mr. Hale, your daughter is in critical condition. She has a skull fracture, subdural hematoma, and significant swelling. We're prepping her for emergency surgery. What happened? A neighbor found her in your driveway. It appears she fell from significant height, possibly your second-story balcony. Grant's world contracted to a pinpoint. Where's my wife? We haven't been able to reach her. Your daughter had your number in her emergency contacts. They led him to Kelly's room. She lay motionless, her head bandaged, machines monitoring her vitals. Tubes ran from her arms. Her face was bruised, swollen. Grant took her hand, this little girl who'd grown into an incredible woman, and felt something break inside him. Kelly, sweetheart, I'm here. You're going to be okay. Her eyes fluttered open, unfocused. Dad, I'm right here, baby. Dad. Tears leaked from the corners of her eyes. I came home early, walked in on Mom. Shit, don't try to talk. Save your strength. No. Her grip tightened with surprising force. You have to know, Mom and her boyfriend, they hired someone, an assassin, for you. They're going to kill you. The words made no sense. Then they made terrible sense. Grant leaned closer. Kelly, what did you see? Rafael Garcia, Mom's boyfriend. There was a man, scarred face, name was Colin. Mom paid him $50,000. Her breathing was labored. To make it look like accident. Hit and run. This week, did they hurt you? I filmed them. On my phone. The man caught me. He pushed me. Her eyes drifted. Off the balcony. Dad, Mom let him. She just watched. Grant's vision went red, then crystalline clear. Sophia hadn't gone to Seattle. She'd been planning his murder. And when Kelly discovered the plot, they'd attempted to kill her too. Where's your phone? Don't know. Lost in the fall. Maybe. Kelly, I need you to listen to me. You're going to have surgery. You're going to survive this. And I'm going to handle everything else. Do you understand? She nodded weakly. And then the doctors were there, wheeling her towards surgery. Grant stood in the empty hallway, the fluorescent lights humming, his daughter's words echoing. Sophia had hired an assassin to kill him. 20 years of marriage, and she decided he was worth more dead than alive. The life insurance alone was substantial, $2 million. With his clinic and their home equity, Sophia stood to walk away with nearly $4 million. Plus Rafael Garcia. His phone buzzed. Sophia, where are you? I'm back from Seattle. The audacity, the calculated normalcy. Grant typed, hospital. Kelly fell. Critical condition. Dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Which hospital? I'm coming. She'd arrive, play the devastated mother, and no one would suspect she'd orchestrated both attacks. Grant's military mind, dormant for 15 years, roared to life. He called Neil. I need you at Emmanuel Hospital. Now, bring your cousin, the security guy, and I need you to find a phone, Kelly's phone. It should be somewhere in or around my house. It has video evidence of a murder conspiracy. Grant, what the hell? Sophia hired an assassin to kill me. When Kelly caught them, they tried to kill her. She's in surgery now. His voice was ice. I'm going to war, Neil. I need you with me. On my way. And Grant, welcome back. Sophia arrived 20 minutes later, her hair perfect, makeup carefully applied to suggest she'd been crying. The performance was Oscar-worthy. Oh my God, Grant. What happened? She fell from a second-story balcony. Grant watched Sophia's face for any crack in the mask. At our house, while you were in Seattle. I don't understand. How did she fall? The doctors think she was pushed. Sophia's eyes widened. Genuine surprise, but not at the violence. She was surprised Kelly had survived. Pushed? By who? That's what the police will want to know. Grant let the statement hang. The police. They're treating it as attempted murder. The angle of her injuries suggests she was shoved with significant force. She didn't just stumble. He stepped closer. Sophia, where were you tonight? I told you. Seattle. The conference. What hotel? The Four Seasons. Why are you interrogating me? Because our daughter is fighting for her life, and you seem more concerned with establishing your alibi than her condition. Sophia's mask slipped for just a second, revealing the cold calculation beneath. Then tears welled, perfectly timed. How dare you? My daughter is in surgery, and you're accusing me of what? Pushing her. I'm not accusing you of anything. Yet. Grant turned away. Go home, Sophia. I'll call when she's out of surgery. I'm not leaving. Yes, you are. Because if you stay, I might say things I can't take back. And we both know there are things we need to talk about. Like Rafael Garcia. And Colin Farrell. Her face went white. I don't know what you're talking about. Go home. We'll discuss it after Kelly's safe. Sophia left, her composure cracking. Grant watched her go, then called Detective Victoria Dixon, a Portland homicide detective he'd helped rehabilitate after a gunshot wound to her shoulder. Victoria, it's Grant Hale. I need to report a murder conspiracy. Chapter 5, Evidence and Allies. Neil arrived with his cousin, Martin Blankenship, a former Marine who now ran a private security and investigation firm. They found Grant in the surgical waiting room, his expression carved from stone. Talk to me, Neil said. Grant laid out everything. Sophia's affair, Kelly's discovery, the assassination plot, the attempt on Kelly's life. Martin took notes, his expression darkening. You need to disappear, Martin said. If this Colin Farrell is professional, he'll still complete the contract. Sophia's already paid him half. I'm not running, and I'm not letting Sophia walk away from trying to murder our daughter. Then we need that phone, Neil said. It's the only proof. Martin made a call. Within 20 minutes, his team was at Grant's house, using thermal imaging and metal detectors. The phone was found in the bushes beneath the balcony. Its screen cracked, but the device still functional. The video was everything. Sophia's voice, Raphael's smug commentary, Colin Farrell's dead eyes. The envelope of cash. The photos of Grant. Every word admissible, every frame damning. Detective Victoria Dixon arrived at 4 a.m., her dark eyes serious. Grant, I need to tell you this has to go through official channels. I understand. She watched the video twice, her jaw tightening. This is attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and probably a dozen other charges. But I need Kelly's testimony to support the recording. She'll testify once she's recovered. What about you? You're still in danger. Let Colin Farrell come for me. Grant's smile had no warmth. I've been dealing with people who want to kill me since I was 22. The difference is this time it's personal. Victoria leaned back. Grant, I know you. I know what you were. Don't do anything that puts you on the wrong side of the law. I won't make you choose between friendship and duty. Everything I do will be legal. Mostly. By dawn, Kelly was out of surgery. The doctors were cautiously optimistic. The swelling was controlled. No permanent brain damage evident. She'd wake up in a day or two. Grant sat by her bedside, holding her hand, and allowed himself to plan. Sophia thought she was smart, that she'd orchestrated the perfect murder. She'd underestimated two things: Kelly's courage and Grant's training. A SEAL never stopped being a SEAL. The missions just changed. His phone rang. Sophia, is she okay? She's alive. No thanks to you. Grant, what are you talking about? Colin Farrell. $50,000. Rafael Garcia. Should I continue? Silence, stretched out. Then, I don't know what Kelly told you, but she must have been confused. The trauma. She filmed you, Sophia. Everything. Every word, every dollar, every plan to murder me and make it look like an accident. More silence. Grant could practically hear her mind racing. Where's the phone? Sophia finally asked. Safe. Along with copies of the video. The police have it now. You're bluffing. Am I? Detective Victoria Dixon from Portland PD is very interested in talking to you. And Raphael, and especially Colin Farrell. Sophia's composure shattered. Grant, please. We can work this out. The affair was a mistake. I'll end things with Raphael. We can go to counseling. You try to have me killed. You let someone push our daughter off a balcony. There is no working this out. I have money. We can make this disappear. I don't want your money. I want justice. Grant hung up. Martin appeared in the doorway. We found Colin Farrell's information. Real name Colin Farrell, former Army Ranger dishonorably discharged. Operates as a freelance contractor for various criminal enterprises. Currently residing at a motel on 82nd Avenue. Is he still planning to complete the contract? Unknown, but Sophia is probably calling him right now, warning him. Grant stood. Then we need to move fast. Victoria can't arrest him without more evidence linking him directly to Kelly's attack. Her testimony won't be available for days. What are you thinking? I'm thinking Colin Farrell is a professional. He'll want his other $50,000, and he'll want it from Sophia directly, in person, to ensure she doesn't have leverage over him. You want to set a trap. I want to give him exactly what he expects. A scared woman willing to pay to make her problems disappear. Except I'll be there instead of Sophia. Neil frowned. That's entrapment. No, it's me defending myself against a credible threat. He's already been paid to kill me. I have every right to protect myself. Victoria, who'd been listening from the hallway, stepped in. Grant, if you're planning what I think you're planning, you need to be very careful. The law gives you latitude for self-defense, but only if the threat is immediate. What if I called him? Claimed to be Sophia, arranged a meeting to pay him the rest. That's impersonation and entrapment. What if Sophia called him? Of her own free will. Victoria's eyes narrowed. How would you accomplish that? Leave that to me. Grant smiled, and it was the smile that had terrified enemy combatants. I just need you to have a unit standing by when Colin Farrell shows up to collect his blood money. Chapter 6. The Hunter Becomes the Hunted. Sophia sat in her living room. Raphael pacing beside her, both of them unraveling. Colin Farrell had stopped answering his phone. Grant had the video. Their perfect plan had collapsed in one night. We need to run, Raphael said. Take the money we have and disappear. He'll find us. Grant's not who you think he is. Sophia's hand shook. I researched SEALs after we married. They're trained to hunt people, to track them across deserts and mountains. We can't hide from him. So what do? We finish this. Colin's already been paid half. We pay him the rest. Make sure he completes the job before Grant can testify against us. Raphael stared at her. You want to double down? The man has video evidence. Evidence that only matters if he's alive to present it. Sophia's voice was steel. We kill Grant. Then it's Kelly's word against ours. A traumatized girl with head injuries against her grieving mother. We can spin that. You're insane. I'm practical. We're already in this. The only way out is through. Raphael's phone rang. Colin Farrell's number. He answered on speaker. You have a problem, Colin said without preamble. The target knows about me. That makes this complicated. We'll pay double, Sophia said. 200,000. Just finish it. It's not about money. It's about the risk. Hale's former special forces. He'll be ready. Then surprise him. You're supposed to be good at this. Colin was silent for a long moment. I'll need the full payment up front. All of it. And I want in person. Tonight. Where? The Columbia River Warehouse District. Pier 9. Midnight. Come alone, both of you. The line went dead. Raphael looked at Sophia. It's a trap. Probably. But what choice do we have? What they didn't know was that Colin Farrell wasn't the one who'd made that call. Grant had spent years learning to mimic voices for infiltration operations. With a simple voice modulator app and Colin's distinctive flat cadence, he made the call from a burner phone Martin had provided. Now he sat in his truck outside the motel on 82nd, watching Colin Farrell load gear into his van. The assassin was preparing for something. Probably one more attempt at Grant's life before disappearing. "He's moving," Grant reported to Martin over the radio. "We're tracking him. Victoria has units standing by at Pier 9. Grant followed at a distance, watching Colin drive toward the industrial district. But instead of heading to Pier 9, Colin turned toward Grant's clinic. "He's going to the clinic," Grant said. "He's going to wait for me there tomorrow morning." "We need to abort," Martin said. "This has gotten too dangerous." "No, let him wait. I'll be ready." Grant turned his truck around, heading instead to Pier 9. Sophia and Raphael arrived at the warehouse at 11:45, carrying a duffel bag with $200,000 in cash. The area was abandoned, dark except for sparse streetlights reflecting off the Columbia River. "I don't like this," Raphael muttered. "Stop being a coward." Sophia clutched the bag tighter. They entered Pier 9, finding it empty except for old shipping containers and rusted equipment. No sign of Colin Farrell. Then the lights came on, flooding the space with harsh illumination. Grant stepped out from behind a container, and Sophia's blood turned to ice. "Hello, wife." Raphael grabbed Sophia's arm. "Run." But police vehicles were already pulling up outside, lights flashing. Detective Victoria Dixon emerged, weapon drawn, uniformed officers flanking her. "Rafael Garcia, Sophia Hale, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder," Victoria announced. "This is a setup," Sophia screamed. "He arranged this. Colin Farrell called us." "That was me," Grant said calmly, using basic voice manipulation. "You really thought a professional assassin would demand a meeting after his cover was blown?" "You can't do this," Raphael said. "It's entrapment." "No, it's you bringing $200,000 to pay for my murder. The money's in the bag, isn't it?" Grant gestured to the duffel Sophia still clutched. Victoria's team secured them both. The bag was opened, revealing stacks of cash and a handwritten note in Sophia's writing. "For completion of contract, Grant Hale." "That's not mine," Sophia said desperately. Grant planted it. "Forensics will determine that," Victoria said. "But combined with the video evidence and your daughter's testimony, I think we have a solid case." As they led Sophia away, she locked eyes with Grant. "You destroyed everything. 20 years of my life." "No, Sophia. You destroyed it when you decided I was worth more dead than alive. When you let someone try to kill our daughter." Grant's voice was arctic. "You're going to prison for a very long time." Raphael was screaming about lawyers, about entrapment, about rights. But the evidence was overwhelming. The video, the money, their arrival at the specified location. Victoria approached Grant as they loaded the suspects into separate vehicles. "Colin Farrell? Still in my clinic, waiting for a target who'll never show. I suggest you pick him up now. He's armed and dangerous. You're playing a risky game. I'm ending one. There's a difference." Chapter 7. Closing the net. Colin Farrell sat in the darkness of Grant's clinic, patient as a spider, waiting for morning when his target would arrive for his usual 6 a.m. opening. The job had gotten complicated, but he'd dealt with complications before. $50,000 was already spent, and pride demanded completion. What he didn't account for was the target having spent 12 years hunting people more dangerous than him. Grant entered through the back door at 5:30, moving with the silence that had carried him through hostile territory. He disabled the alarm earlier, knowing Colin would bypass it anyway. The assassin was good, but Grant had trained with the best. He found Colin in the treatment room, positioned with a clear sight line to the front door. Grant approached from behind, his footsteps soundless, and pressed the muzzle of his Glock 19 against the base of Colin's skull. "Don't move." Colin froze. "Hale." "Surprised? You shouldn't be. You came into my territory, threatened my life, tried to kill my daughter." Grant's voice was conversational. "That was a mistake. I was just doing a job. So it was I for 12 years. The difference is I killed people who actually deserved it." Grant pulled out zip ties with his free hand. "Hand behind your back." Slowly, Colin complied, calculating odds. He was former Ranger, experienced, lethal. But the man behind him had the drop and the mindset of someone who'd already decided Colin's fate. "You're going to kill me," Colin said. "No, I'm going to let the justice system handle you. But first, you can tell me who else Sophia hired. Who else knew about the contract?" "No one. Just me." "Wrong answer." Grant pressed the gun harder. "Sophia's not smart enough to find someone like you on her own. Someone connected her. Someone in the criminal underworld. Give me a name." Colin laughed, bitter. "You think I'm going to rat out a crime boss? I'm already going to prison. Might as well be alive when I get there." "Your choice." Grant stepped back, weapon still trained. "Police are already here, by the way. Building surrounded." Colin's face twisted as Victoria Dixon entered, her team behind her. They secured him professionally. Miranda Wrights read, everything by the book. "Found his equipment," one officer reported. "Rifle with suppressor, surveillance gear, and a burner phone with text messages discussing the hit." Victoria looked at Grant. "You took an enormous risk." "Not really. I knew where he'd be and when. I just had to make sure I got here first. You could have called us, and he might have run. This way, we have him with clear intent, armed, in my place of business, lying in wait." Self-defense was fully justified if it came to that. Colin was led away, still defiant. But Grant knew the assassin would eventually talk. Men like him always did when facing life in prison. At the hospital, Kelly had woken up. Grant sat beside her, holding her hand, as she processed everything that had happened. "Mom really tried to kill you. And me. I'm sorry you had to see that, sweetheart. I'm sorry you had to know. Dad, I filmed it. I have the evidence." Her voice strengthened. "I'm testifying. Against both of them. You don't have to. The video is enough. I want to. I want Mom to know I'm not scared of her. That she failed." Pride swelled in Grant's chest. His daughter had his courage. "Okay, but we're going to do this right. Counseling, support, everything you need to process the trauma. I'm pre-med, Dad. I understand trauma." She squeezed his hand. "I also understand justice. And Mom needs to face what she did." Over the next week, the case against Sophia and Raphael solidified. The video evidence was ironclad. Colin Farrell, facing life imprisonment, decided cooperation was his best option and provided details about how Raphael had approached him through an underground network of criminals operating in Portland's luxury real estate world. Raphael Garcia, it turned out, wasn't just Sophia's lover. He was a con artist with warrants in 2 states for fraud and embezzlement. He'd targeted Sophia specifically because of Grant's life insurance and the couple's substantial assets. The affair was calculated, every moment designed to manipulate Sophia into murdering her husband. She was a victim too, Grant's lawyer suggested during prep for the trial. She made her choices, Grant said. Raphael might have manipulated her, but she hired the assassin. She paid the money. She stood by while Colin pushed Kelly off that balcony. The lawyer nodded. The prosecution's offering a plea deal. 15 years for conspiracy, attempted murder, and accessory charges. What about Raphael? 25 years. Colin Farrell's looking at life without parole. Tell Sophia I'll consider supporting the plea deal on one condition. Full restitution of all marital assets to Kelly and myself. Complete disinheritance from Kelly's trust, and a recorded confession detailing everything. Sophia took the deal. In her confession, recorded and submitted to the court, she detailed the affair, the murder plot, the calculation behind every choice. Her voice was flat, emotionless. The mask finally dropped to reveal the narcissist beneath. I wanted his money. I wanted freedom. I wanted Raphael and the life we could build without Grant dragging us down with his mediocrity. Listening to it, Grant felt nothing but pity. 20 years with this woman, and he'd never truly known her. Chapter 8, The Trial. The courtroom was packed for the preliminary hearing. Sophia Hale's case had made national news. The affluent real estate agent who'd hired an assassin to kill her Navy SEAL husband nearly murdered her own daughter in the cover-up. Kelly took the stand, her head still bandaged, but her voice strong. She walked the jury through that terrible night, coming home early, hearing the conversation, filming the evidence being discovered, and the moment Colin Farrell pushed her. Did your mother try to stop him? The prosecutor asked. No. She stood there and watched. She calculated whether it was easier to let me die than face charges. Kelly met Sophia's eyes across the courtroom. My own mother chose murder over motherhood. Sophia's defense attorney tried to break her testimony, suggesting the head trauma had confused her memories, that the video was somehow faked or taken out of context. But the evidence was overwhelming. Forensic analysis confirmed the video's authenticity. Colin Farrell's testimony corroborated every detail. The money trail was clear. Rafael Garcia tried to claim he'd been manipulated by Sophia, that she was the mastermind. But his criminal history destroyed his credibility. The judge denied bail for both defendants, citing flight risk and danger to witnesses. Grant watched from the gallery, Neil and Martin beside him. Victoria Dixon sat in the front row, in uniform, her presence a statement. "How are you holding up?" Neil asked. "I'm fine. This is just cleanup now. Your daughter's incredible. She gets that from her mother." Grant paused. Her real mother. The woman I thought I married. Before Sophia became whatever she is now. The preliminary hearing lasted 2 days. At the end, both Sophia and Rafael were bound over for trial, all charges upheld. Colin Farrell pleaded guilty in exchange for life with possibility of parole after 30 years. Sophia was led away in handcuffs, her designer clothes replaced with a jail jumpsuit, her perfect hair limp. She looked back once, her eyes finding Grant's. He nodded. It was acknowledgement, not forgiveness. That evening, Grant and Kelly sat in their living room, the same room where Sophia had planned his death. They'd spent the day packing Sophia's belongings, erasing her presence from the house. "Are you going to sell it?" Kelly asked. "I haven't decided. Too many memories here, good and bad. I understand if you want to start over." Grant looked at his daughter, this brave, brilliant young woman who'd risked everything to save him. "Kelly, I want you to know something. What your mother became doesn't define you. You're not her choices. You're not her corruption. I know, Dad, but it's hard. Part of me still loves her or loves who I thought she was. That's okay. Grief isn't logical. You can mourn the mother you believed you had while holding the real Sophia accountable." They sat in comfortable silence, both processing the earthquake that had shattered their family. Finally, Kelly spoke. "Dad, when I was lying in the hospital, I realized something. Medicine is about healing people, but some people can't be healed. Some people choose darkness. You want to change majors? No. I want to understand the psychology behind people like Mom. Why they destroy everything good. Maybe I can help prevent it." She smiled. "Or maybe I'll just be a really good doctor who understands that physical wounds aren't the only ones that matter. You'll be whatever you choose to be, and I'll be proud of you regardless." Chapter 9. New Beginnings. 6 months later, the trial concluded. Sophia Hale was convicted on all counts: conspiracy to commit murder, attempted murder, accessory to attempted murder, and fraud. She received 20 years without parole. Rafael Garcia got 30 years after additional charges for his prior crimes were added. Colin Farrell testified against them both and received his agreed sentence: life with parole eligibility after 30 years. Grant stood outside the courthouse, media cameras flashing, reporters shouting questions. He raised a hand for quiet. "Justice has been served today. My daughter and I are grateful to Portland PD, to the prosecutors, and to everyone who supported us through this nightmare." He paused. "To anyone listening who might be in a similar situation, if you suspect your spouse of infidelity or violence, please seek help. Don't ignore the warning signs. Don't wait until it's too late." Kelly stood beside him, her scars now hidden by her hair, her strength evident. "I want to thank everyone who sent messages of support. I'm returning to Stanford next week to continue my studies. I won't let my mother's choices derail my future." They walked away from the courthouse together, leaving behind the wreckage of Sophia's ambitions. Grant's clinic thrived. He'd expanded, hiring 2 additional therapists, and begun offering free treatment to veterans dealing with PTSD-related injuries. The waiting list stretched months. Neil had become his business partner, and together they created a model program that other clinics were copying: physical therapy combined with mental health support, recognizing that healing wasn't purely physical. Martin Blankenship had become a close friend, often joining Grant for their morning runs. The security expert had helped Grant install state-of-the-art protection systems in his home and clinic, though Grant doubted he'd ever need them again. Victoria Dixon stopped by regularly, usually with updates on other cases, but sometimes just for coffee and conversation. She'd become part of Grant's expanded family, the tribe of people who'd stood by him when everything collapsed. Kelly returned to Stanford, but came home often, her resilience inspiring everyone around her. She'd changed her major to psychology and neuroscience, determined to understand the intersection of brain function and moral choice. Her professors called her their most dedicated student. One evening, a year after the trial, Grant sat on his back deck watching the sunset. The balcony where Kelly had fallen had been rebuilt, reinforced, made safe. He considered removing it entirely, but Kelly had stopped him. "Don't let what happened there define the space," she'd said. "Reclaim it. Make new memories." So they'd hosted dinners there, celebrated Kelly's recovery milestones, turned the site of trauma into a place of healing. His phone rang. Unknown number. Grant answered warily. "Grant Hale. Speaking. This is Warden Chong at Coffee Creek Correctional Facility. Sophia Hale has requested a visit with you. You're under no obligation to accept." "I'll come." "Sir, are you certain?" "Given the circumstances." "I'm certain." "When?" "Tomorrow afternoon, if that works." Grant agreed and hung up. He wasn't sure why he'd accepted. Curiosity, maybe, or the need for final closure. The prison was sterile, cold, designed to strip away pretense. Sophia sat across from him in the visiting room, wearing prison blues, her beauty faded by harsh lighting and stress. "Thank you for coming," she said quietly. "You asked. I'm here. What do you want, Sophia?" "To apologize, I suppose. Though I know it means nothing." "You're right. It doesn't." She flinched. "I've had a lot of time to think. About my choices. About what I became. And what conclusion did you reach?" "That Raphael was right about one thing. I was trapped. But not by you. By my own need for validation, for status, for proof that I mattered." She looked down. "I built my identity on being successful, wealthy, important. And when I felt like you were holding me back, I decided you were disposable. I never held you back. I know. That's what makes it worse. You supported every dream I had. You were proud of my success. But I couldn't see it because I was too busy comparing our lives to other people's highlight reels." Grant leaned back. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because Kelly won't see me. She has every right to refuse. But I need someone to know that I understand what I threw away. I had a man who loved me, a daughter who admired me, a life most people would envy. And I destroyed it all for money and a con artist who never cared about me. Raphael used you. I let him. I wanted to believe his lies because they justified what I already wanted to do." Sophia's eyes filled with tears. "I thought I was being practical, decisive, strong. But I was just a narcissist who couldn't accept responsibility for my own unhappiness. Is this supposed to make me feel sorry for you? No. It's supposed to make me face the truth. Every day, I wake up knowing I tried to murder the father of my child, that I stood by while someone tried to kill my daughter. That's my reality now. Forever." Grant stood. "Good. You should live with that. You should think about it every day for the next 20 years. And when you get out, if you get out, I hope you've learned what it means to actually be strong. Because hiring someone to solve your problems isn't strength. Facing them is." He walked away, leaving Sophia in her self-made prison within the prison. Outside, the sun was setting over the mountains, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. Grant called Kelly. "Hey, Dad. How'd it go?" She apologized. "For what it's worth." "Is it worth anything?" "No, but I think she finally understands what she lost." "Good." Kelly's voice was firm. "I'm never seeing her, Dad. I want you to know that. She's not my mother anymore. I understand, and I support you. How do you feel?" Grant considered. "Free. I went there thinking I needed closure, but I realized I already had it. Sophia's remorse doesn't change what happened. It doesn't undo the pain. But knowing she has to live with her choices, that's enough. I love you, Dad. I love you too, kiddo. See you next weekend? Wouldn't miss it. I'm bringing Ben, the guy from my anatomy class. I think you'll like him." Grant smiled. Life was moving forward as it should. The nightmare was over. Sophia's plot had failed because she'd underestimated two things: her daughter's courage and the fact that some men don't break under pressure. They adapt, they overcome, they survive, and they make damn sure justice is served. 2 years later, Grant received a letter from Stanford Medical School. Kelly had been accepted, early admission, full scholarship, top of her class. He framed it and hung it in his clinic, next to a photo of Kelly at her graduation. Beneath it, he placed a small plaque. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's doing what's right despite it. Sophia would spend the next 18 years in prison. Rafael Garcia would die there, stabbed in a prison fight 2 years into his sentence. Colin Farrell would never see freedom, dying of cancer before his parole eligibility. And Grant Hale would continue doing what he'd always done, helping people heal, protecting those he loved, and living with the quiet satisfaction that when tested, he'd passed. The last mission hadn't been in a desert or a jungle. It had been in his own home against his own wife. And he'd won, not through violence, though he'd been prepared for it, not through revenge, though he'd had every right to it, but through strategy, evidence, and the justice system working as it should. Some victories were louder than others. Some required explosions and firefights. But the ones that mattered most, those were won in courtrooms, through testimony, with truth as the ultimate weapon. Grant had deployed that weapon with precision, and the enemy had fallen, as they always did when facing someone who refused to be a victim. His daughter understood it now. His friends knew it. His enemies learned it too late. Grant Hale was done being a SEAL in title, but he'd never stopped being one in spirit, and that made all the difference.
This is where our story comes to an end. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for your precious time. If you enjoyed this story, then please make sure you subscribe to this channel. That would help me a lot. Click on the video you see on the screen, and I will see you there.